This
recording.
conference will now be recorded.
Okay, in case if I forget, yeah. So yeah, good morning Raghu, good morning Date, good morning Anil, good morning everybody out there who is in India, and good evening for all the people who are in US. Okay, so glad to see is a good crowd here now today. So so guys, let's get started. If you're wondering like what is that we have done last class, is not much to be honest. Okay, so yesterday's class was more like a recap for day before yesterday's class, because day before, I mean, the last to last class was a little fast. A lot of people have mentioned that, so I kind of slowed down a little bit and then uh, gave you the importance of controller in the last class. Now, yesterday's class, after attending yesterday's class, you got complete clarity on how the controllers, or why there is something like controllers. Okay, so ideally a lot of people what I've seen is first they record into recording controller. Okay, recording controller, and then they move their samplers or the recorded content into simple controllers. Okay, into simple controllers. So this is what I have seen typically, and this is what people usually use. But again, it's totally up to you how you want it to use. The tool is totally flexible. You can use it the way you want, because but generally this is how it can be done. First, record it to recording controller, and if you don't like it, clear it off. If you like it, create a simple controller with a proper naming convention and move it into that simple controller. Or you can directly record into a simple controller. Nobody is stopping you from doing that. Okay, okay, now let me go ahead and then start working on today's topics. Okay, so let me open the PPT. Yeah, this is what I would like to pin it, and this is what I would like not to pin it. Okay. Okay guys, so today I'm going to talk about, okay, naming the transactions. Okay, so let me go ahead and do that first. Let me add a thread group here. Okay, so let me add a thread group. Inside the thread group, let me add a simple controller or recording controller. Okay, let me add a recording controller, and also let me add a simple controller so that later on I can move that to that simple controller. Okay, and also let me add a non-test element called HTTP script recorder. Okay, and you wanted to see the record, the request and the response. What do I do, guys? If I wanted to see the request and the response for whatever the recorded content is or the sampler is, what do I do, guys? What is the
Listener.
thing that yeah. Sorry,
Listener.
listeners, wonderful. In the listeners, what is that I'm looking at? Which listener?
View test results. View results tree.
View results tree. Wonderful. Okay, so that I'll be able to look for those requests and the response for the recorded sample. Okay, so let me go ahead and record it. Okay, but before recording it, okay, let me start recording it. Wonderful. Now, before I start recording, let's look at this panel over here. Okay, here there are two things: prefix and transaction name. Let me play around with the transaction name first. Okay, so the first sampler is launch. Okay, this is the launch. Okay, so I'm going to launch it. So let me name this transaction as launch, LAUNCH. Okay, now let me record the content for launch. Okay, so now let's see what has been recorded. Okay, let's pay attention as to what has been recorded. First, where it will be recorded? In the target controller called recording controller. So it should be there in the recording controller. So let me open the recording controller. Why? Because all the recorded content or the samplers will be recorded in the recording controller. Okay. Now you see the launch has been recorded and the name has been given as launch. Okay. So the sampler, one sampler is recorded for launch and the name of the sampler is given launch. If you don't give that name, it will take some default name that we have seen. Okay, it would have taken the default name, which is JPEG store action catalog.action would have been the name for the sampler. But now that you gave a name called launch, it has taken the name launch. Okay, now let me go ahead and click on, okay, this is sign out. Why there is a sign out? Oh, there is already, it looks like I have signed in. Okay, so let me click on sign out. Okay, now click on sign in. Okay, click on sign in. CLIC. Okay, click on sign in button. Okay, click on sign in button. So now you go ahead and record for clicking of that particular functionality. So go ahead and do that. Now go ahead and click on sign in. So you expect that one more sampler gets recorded. Yes, click on sign in button. These two samplers you ignore it guys because the application was already signed in. I was signing out. So you can ignore these two samplers here. Okay, so now the launch has happened. Click on sign in button has happened. Now let me go ahead and actually sign in. Okay, or log in. So on the application, you see, go ahead and log in. Okay, so now sign out. Record the content for sign out. Okay, now stop recording. Now you see guys, launch, one sampler got recorded. Click on sign in button, another sampler got recorded. Login, two samplers got recorded. Okay, one seems to be disabled, and sign out, two samplers got recorded and one seems to be sign out, one seems to be disabled. Okay, don't worry about the disabled part. Let's look at the disabled part at the later part of that. You see, now naming of the transactions, you know, by naming the transactions, now you know there is one sampler for launch, one sampler for clicking on sign in button, two samplers for actually logging into the application, and two samplers for actually logging out of the sampler. So logging out of the application. Are we clear with this concept, guys? Everybody understood this? All of you? Yeah. Now let's compare again. There is one question I would like to ask before I proceed further. Okay. So you're doing anything on the application, for example, okay, you're launching the application, okay, you're launching the application, okay. So you took that URL of www.demokekor.com, okay, kekor.com or whatever it is, okay, /launch, let's assume, okay. So whatever it is, you know, let's say you have taken that URL and pasted it on the browser and clicked enter. Okay, so is there a chance that more than one request goes to the server? Please answer by saying why or no. Okay, is there a chance that more than one request goes to the server when you take this URL and put it on the browser and click enter? Okay, or when you're sending this request for the launch page? Okay, is there a chance that more than one request goes to the server, guys? Okay, wonderful. All of you says yes. And what are these requests called? Let's say there are 5 requests going on to the server for this launch transaction or for this launch web request. 5 requests are going on. What are these 5 requests are called ideally? Okay. Is there a name? Okay. Okay, Anil says they are either called samplers or resources. Okay, whoever have attended my LoadRunner class, they should be able to tell this answer. What are these requests called? all these 5 requests or 6 requests which are going for the launch page. Okay, what are they called? You can unmute yourself and speak, guys. I was expecting a lot of people to give this answer. Okay, oh my god,
Embedded resources.
wonderful. Who was that? Who is the
It's
one who has
Gaurav. It's
answered?
Gaurav Kumar. Gaurav.
Okay, thank you. These are called embedded resources. Haven't we studied about this, guys? Embedded resources. Okay, we spend a lot of time understanding what are these embedded resources, right? Okay, so these are called embedded resources. Okay, so Kumar, just show me once. Show me once. Don't worry, I'm going to show it to you. Okay. Okay, so for looking at the embedded resources from the browser, I wanted to look at these 5 embedded resources. Okay, how would I do it, guys? How would I do it? Is there a way that I can look up all these embedded resources from the browser? Okay, wonderful, wonderful, Hivi. Okay, others, I want to hear from all of you. Okay, development tools. Okay, press on F12. Okay, from the press on F12. Wonderful, Narendra. F12 are the embedded. The developer tools is where you can look at these embedded resources. Okay, now let's go ahead and launch it. Let's go ahead and launch it, and let's see how many embedded resources are there. Okay. Okay, how many resources are there, guys? How many embedded resources are there? 1, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Almost 8 embedded resources are there, and seems like there is a Chrome error for some of them. Okay, don't worry. Okay, so looks like the same resource seems to be downloaded multiple times. Not sure why. Earlier, the size was little less. Okay. So maybe it is trying to download multiple times. Okay, the same resource which is catalog.action. Okay, which is a document, and remaining everything else is like it's an XML or a PNG file. Okay, so if you look at all of this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they are coming from the memory cache. It's not coming from the server. Okay, so there is no internet, that's why it's throwing the error, and it is trying to get this information multiple times. Okay, hang on, guys. Let me enable the proxy. Okay, let me enable the proxy and then try to access this. Okay, hang on, guys. Sorry, let me disable the proxy. Okay, and then access the application again. Okay, so let me clear all of this and try to launch the application again. Okay, now this is what is the right content. Okay, now you see catalog.action, it got downloaded only once. Okay, not multiple times. Earlier what happened was it was not launching, so it was trying to download this catalog.action multiple times. Okay, now watch this carefully, guys. Okay, there are how many embedded resources are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Approximately 15 embedded resources are there. Out of these 15 embedded resources, once you get the response for all these embedded resources, all the 15 of them, this is when you will be able to see the whole page. Okay, even one of the image is missing, some image will be missing on that web page. And you see pretty much all of them are images, you see, except that this style sheet which defines the styling of this web page. Okay, everything else is images. And you see, except this document, everything else has been pulled out from the disk cache. Okay, everything else has been pulled out. All these embedded resources have been pulled out from the cache, which means that it will never go to the server. All this will be stored in your Chrome, or it will be stored on your cache memory of your desktop, and it is trying to get it from your cache memory of the desktop. Okay, so it is not actually going to the website or server to get this information. Only this is the one which actually went to the server, and it is pulled out from the JPEG store server. Everything else has been captured from your desktop only. It is stored in a cache memory on your desktop, and it has been pulled out from your cache memory of your desktop. Okay, are we clear with this part? I've already explained this in detail, but just wanted to. Okay, noble, wonderful. Okay, we have a tool called HTTP Watch as well. Okay, from where you can look it up all these embedded resources. Good one, Noble. Okay, great, you brought it up. Okay, have you understood this part, guys? All of you, have you understood this part? This is more like a repetition of earlier thing. Yeah, all of you. Okay. Now what is happening? My Jmeter, whatever is coming, you see proxy was there between the client and the server, which means that whatever has been sent from the server to the proxy is being captured by Jmeter. Do you agree with me or not? Okay. So if you go to the Jmeter, what is Jmeter capturing? Okay. What is Jmeter capturing? Whatever the server is being sent to the browser, whatever the server sends as a response to the browser, okay, that response first it will go to the proxy and from there it goes to the browser. Okay, that information is captured by Jmeter. Okay, so you see this catalog.action is the only request which is being sent to the server. Server is sending it back to the browser, and this is the only thing which will be captured by the Jmeter. Everything else is there in the browser itself. Okay, for that the request is not being sent to the server. Okay, all this, because you see this is there in the disk cache. So all this information is there in the browser itself, on your browser cache itself, and it is being pulled out from there. Okay, not from the server. So since this information has been pulled out from the browser cache, Jmeter is not able to capture all this information. Jmeter is not able to capture all this information. Okay, so otherwise, if all this information would have been sent by the server, then Jmeter would have captured it. Okay, all that information would have stayed in the proxy, would have gone through the proxy, and whatever goes through the proxy, Jmeter would have captured. But now all this information will not be captured, only this information. Okay, is that so? Can we double check it from the Jmeter? Yes. Okay, for launching, how many samplers got recorded? Only one, or only one embedded resource has been captured, and that is what? What we are expecting that to be catalog.action. Catalog.action. Okay, if you look at the request URL as well, what is that? Demo kicker monitor. Okay, catalog.action. Okay, is it catalog.action? Yes. Okay, that's what is captured. Okay, but Kumar, can you verify the complete URL? Yes, just click on this and go to the request URL. What does the request URL says? HTTP. Where is my HTTP? It's over here. Okay, demo kicker monitor.net. Where is it? It's over here. Okay, and the path, it is here. JPEG store action catalog.action. Okay, JPEG store /actions /catalog.action. Where is it? It's over here. JPEG store actions catalog.action. Okay, so basically it is sending the request for this URL, sending the request for URL. HTTP is at one place. This is the server the request is being sent to, that is over here, and this is the path to which on the server the request goes to, and that's what is over here. Okay, only this request is captured by Jmeter. Only this request is captured by Jmeter. Okay, wonderful. So Kumar, not only for launch, show me also for this particular request, which is click on sign in button. Okay, first let me clear all this. Okay, and let me send the request for click on sign in. Okay, again, okay, everything else is captured from memory cache. Only the one which is captured, which we have captured it from the server, is this one, which is action.action sign off form. Okay, action.action sign off form is equal to, if you click on it, you will get the entire request as well. What is the entire request? HTTP demokicker monitor.net JPEG store action, and then you see action.action sign off form. Okay, let's see if that is what is captured. Ideally, you expect only one thing to be captured, only one embedded resources to be captured, because that's what you're getting it from the server, and that's what captured as well. And if you see, oh, the URL seems to be little different, but the request goes to this one only, guys. Okay, so even for click on sign in, the request seems to be little different. Okay, maybe in advance. Okay, okay, wonderful. Okay, there seems to be little discrepancy, but that's fine. Yeah, this is the only thing which is coming from the server. Ideally, you want it to be this, but that's not what captured. Okay, but let's look for login. Okay, let's look for login. Okay, this is the same URL. Okay, let's look for login. And here we expect two things to be captured. Is it two things? Yes, two samplers to be captured, because each sampler is for each embedded resources. Everything else is from the memory cache. Okay, everything else is either from the memory cache or disk cache. So we expect two samplers or request for these two embedded resources, and that's what we captured as well. Okay, so one is action.action, one is catalog.action. Let me see if that is what it is. Okay, okay, action.action, okay, action.action, and one is catalog.action. Okay, that's what is captured. Okay, one is you see action.action and one is catalog.action. Okay, there seems to be some discrepancy over here, guys. Maybe the recording is incorrect, or maybe whether even this send the request to it, it's kind of same. Maybe that could be the reason. But here again, see the request is sent for action.action. Okay, which is this one, action.action and catalog.action. Okay, so catalog.action. Okay, so let me look into it tomorrow as to why there is a discrepancy only for this embedded resource. Okay, but for everything else it's following our logic. Okay, which is, and then for sign off also, if you can look at it, sign out as well, if you look at it, everything else is from the memory cache, and only thing is sign off is equal to true, action.action. Okay, yeah, so even our logic doesn't work for this sign off is equal to true as well. Okay, so catalog.action, it is working out. Okay, catalog.action. Let me look into it further to see what is going on. But I'm sure the request that will be sent to the server and received will be appropriate for the sign out, which I'm going to show you when I execute the test. Okay, which I'm going to show you when I execute the test. Anyways, the point which I'm trying to make here is, whatever is being pulled out from the disk cache or the memory cache, that will not be recorded, and whatever is being sent to the server, for those embedded resources the request will be captured. For those embedded resources the request will be captured, and for each embedded resources you have one sampler. For each embedded resources you have one sampler. You see, for the sign out there are two embedded resources which we are getting it from the server, and we have two samplers that got recorded. Same thing for login, same thing for launch, and same thing for sign out. Okay, so that's what it is. Are we clear? Are we clear so far, guys? Okay, why there are two samplers for some transactions and why there is only one sampler for some transactions, you might be wondering, and this is the logic behind that. Okay, so there could be multiple embedded resources, and for a transaction, if there are 5 embedded resources and all of them are pulled out from the server, then you have those many samplers. Okay, you have those many samplers recorded for that particular transaction. Okay, are we clear with that concept, guys? Are we clear with that? Okay, if there are 5 embedded resources, and for example, all these 5 embedded resources are pulled out from the server. Okay, nothing from the cache. Okay, how many samplers will be recorded, guys? How many samplers will be recorded? Option 1, 5. Option 2, only one sampler. Okay, 5 samplers we are expecting for that particular transaction. Okay, because some of them might be wondering, okay, Kumar, like why for login there are 2, sign out there are 2, but launch there is only one, click on sign in button, there is only one sampler. Okay, each sampler corresponds to particular embedded resource, and if there are more than one embedded resources pulled out from the server, there will be more than one sampler that will be captured or recorded. Okay, now I have a question for you guys. Okay, I have a question which is very important. Okay, now you see, okay, for the launch, okay, how many embedded resources are there? There are close to 15 embedded resources. There are close to 15 embedded resources, or 16 embedded resources. Okay, so there are close to 16 embedded resources. Okay, now for the launch transaction, okay, there are 16 request or embedded resources. I'll say embedded resources. Okay, so there are 16 embedded resources. Now each embedded resource will take certain time, right? In case, okay, in case it is not coming from the browser cache, in case it is coming from the server, each one will take certain response time, or it will take certain time for the request to go to the server and response to come back. Each embedded resources will take certain time, right? Certain time, okay, certain time to go to the server, for the request to go to the server to understand your request and then prepare the response and send the response back. Each one will take certain time. So all the 16 of them will take certain time. All the 16 of them will take certain time. Do you agree with me, guys? Okay. Do you agree with me? Okay. You agree with me, all of you? Okay. Okay. So the total response times for the page, okay, okay, for the total response times of that particular page, these 16 embedded resources, okay, will have a certain impact. Do you agree with me? All the 16 embedded resources will have certain impact on the overall response time for the launch. Do you agree with me, guys, all of you? Okay, all the 16 embedded resources will have certain impact on the overall response times of the launch transaction. Okay, overall launch transaction. Do you agree with me? Because all the 16 of them has to go to the server, get the response. I mean, get the server to understand your request, get it create the response for it and send the response back to it. So all of them will take certain time. So it will have impact on. It will have certain impact on the response times for all, on the overall launch transaction. Okay, so and one more thing here, very carefully, guys. Okay, instead of 16, to make my job easy to explain, let's assume there are only 3. Okay, only 3 embedded resources. Okay, let's say 3 instead of 3. Let me go with 6 embedded resources. The first embedded resources has taken 1 second. Second one has taken 1 second. Third one, fourth one, fifth one, sixth one. Okay, each embedded resource have taken 1 second for the request to go in, response to come back, and server to prepare the response and response to come back. Each one has taken 1 second. Okay, so the overall response times for the launch transaction is 6 seconds, or it could be something less than 6 seconds. Option 1 is 6 seconds. Option 2 could be less than 6 seconds. What is that, you agree? Okay, you know, instead of 16, let's say 6. Okay, there are 6 embedded resources which are making up the launch transaction. Each one is taking 1 second. Okay, so overall response times for the launch transaction is 6 seconds, or maybe it could be less than 6 seconds, or I would say less than or equal to 6 seconds. Okay, option 1 or option 2. Option 1 or option 2. Okay, some of them are saying option 1 and some of them are saying option 2. Okay, but you do have to remember, guys, that so some of the resources goes in parallel. Okay, some of the resources goes in parallel. They will not be always. Okay, you see, all these 3 resources went in parallel. All these 5 or 6 resources went in parallel. All these 5 or 3 or 4 requests goes in parallel. So if you're wondering that after one embedded resources, another embedded resources comes, then what you said is right. Okay, after this 1 second is started, then this 1 second, then this 1 second, then this 1 second, then this 1 second. Okay, then this 1 second. If this is the case, then it will be 6 seconds. But what usually happens is there could be some of the requests which are going in parallel. Okay, and some of them could be in serial. Okay, if this is the case, okay, if this is the case, okay, these 3 requests went in parallel and these 3 requests went in parallel, overall response times in this case will be 2 seconds. 2 seconds only, because all the 3 of them went in parallel and it has taken 1 second, and as soon as this is done, then all these 3 seconds went in parallel and got it done in 1 second. So overall it will be 2 seconds. Okay, to deal with this situation in LoadRunner, what is the request that the LoadRunner employ to deal with this situation, guys? You remember, to deal with this situation, to send all these embedded resources together. Okay, so there is one function that LR uses to employ or to send all these embedded resources together. Wonderful, Vasant. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, it is called web concurrent start. Okay, so concurrent start at the start, then it will send all those requests, request 1, request 2, request 3. Okay, then you will have a web concurrent end. Okay, if you have not noticed, okay, create the script in LoadRunner in, okay, in URL mode, and then observe this web concurrent start and web concurrent end. Okay, so okay, you record it in the URL mode so that for each embedded resources there will be a request that will be captured. Okay, and then if these three has to be sent together, then LoadRunner will employ this function web concurrent start, and it will send all these three. It will put all these three requests together, I mean one after another, and then we'll say web concurrent end, which means that all these three requests will be sent together. Okay, that is the LoadRunner. So totally forget about the LoadRunner part. Okay, now what we are understanding here is, if there are 6 embedded resources, each one is taking 1 second, not necessarily overall response times will be 6 seconds. Okay, most likely than not, they will be going in parallel. If that is the case, it will be less than or equal to 6 seconds. It will be much lower than 6 seconds. If you look at this one, there are total 16 requests. Out of this, a bunch of them are going in parallel, and a bunch of, at least there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of going them are here in parallel, and then 3 are going in parallel here, 3 are going in parallel here, and then 3 are going in parallel here. Okay, and if you look at the overall response times for this whole thing, it just took 253 milliseconds, because only one request has been taken going in serial, and after that a bunch of requests are going in parallel. Okay, so this is what I want you to understand. It will not be serial, it will be parallel. Okay, so how does that matter in Jmeter? I'll get to that point. Okay, whether it is going in parallel or whether it is going in serial, how does it matter in Jmeter? We'll get to that part. Okay, before getting to that part, okay, if you consider, okay, let's come back to this 16 embedded resources. Okay, 16 embedded resources, each one will take certain response time, so it will have some impact on the response times, on overall transaction response times for launch. It will have certain impact, whether they are going in serial or whether they are going in parallel. It will definitely affect the overall response times for the launch transaction. Okay, if this is the case, Jmeter needs to capture all these 16 embedded resources. Okay, because each embedded resource will have certain impact on the response times, and the whole purpose of creating the scripts on the Jmeter is to capture the response times. Okay, If that is the case, then Jmeter needs to capture all these embedded resources 16. Answer yes or no. What do you think? Do Jmeter needs to capture all of it? If 16 of them, each of them have certain impact on the overall response times, and the whole purpose of creating the script is to capture the response times in Jmeter. Okay, so if this is so, then Jmeter needs to capture all these embedded resources, all the 16 of them. Okay, Sam says no, Abdisa says yes. I want to hear from all of you guys, whether it is no or yes. Simple answer. Okay, but I want to always ask for why or n. Okay, but think about it as to what it is. Each embedded resource will have certain impact on the overall response times, and the Jmeter, whole purpose of creating the script in the Jmeter is to capture these response times. Okay, then Jmeter needs to capture all these embedded resources. Right now what Jmeter is doing, it is out of 16, only one embedded resource has been captured by Jmeter, not the 16 of them. Okay, out of this 16, Jmeter is capturing how many of them? Only one of them. Okay, and all the 16 of them have certain impact on the response time. Does it need to capture? Okay, Hivi says, okay, some of them come from the browser cache, right? So it need not have to capture. Okay, Hivi, just make an assumption that nothing is coming from the browser cache. Okay, so Hivi, for our discussions for this question, assume that nothing is coming from the browser cache. Everything is coming, all the 16 of them are coming from the server. For this question, okay, just for this question, okay, assuming that all of them are coming from the browser, all the 16 of them are coming from, okay, browser cache. Okay, so if he says then it's yes. Okay, assuming that all of them are coming from all the 16 of them, all 16 of them are coming from the browser cache, the answer should be yes, because each one, okay, ideally the answer should be yes. Okay, answer should be yes. Okay, but do we need to do it? The answer is actually no. Okay, do we need to do it? Okay, the answer is no. Okay, then how? Okay, how you came to this conclusion that ideally you wanted it to be yes, because each one will have certain impact on the overall response times, and Jmeter is not capturing all of them, so Jmeter is not capturing the right response times. It is capturing only one out of these 16 embedded resources. Okay, so Jmeter is not doing the right job. Okay, so do we need to capture it? Okay, yes, ideally yes, but do we need to really do it? No. Why? Okay, so let's come to that point. Okay, let's come to that point. Okay, so let me move this to a simple controller. Okay, simple controller is already there, so let me move all this to the simple controller. Okay, now okay guys, let me make sure that all these 16 of them are not coming from the browser cache or coming from the server. How do I make sure? Right now, okay, if I launch the page, out of the 16, only one of them is coming from the server, everything else is coming from the browser cache or disk cache. I wanted to push it to make sure that it will come from the server, not from the cache. How do I do it? What can I do so that it comes from the server but not from the cache? What is that I need to do, guys? Okay, what is that I need to do so that it doesn't come from the browser cache but it comes from the server? Okay, what do I do? I need to clean up the cache, right? I need to clean up the cached images or the files. I need to clean up the browser cache so that, okay, wonderful Dejano, I'll go ahead and clean up the cache. Okay, so from the last all time, I'll create everything, cached images and everything. Okay, now go ahead and send the request. Now you see that most of this request will not be coming from the browser cache. Okay, so okay, you see, now go ahead and send the request for the launch. Okay, do you see, guys? Okay, why this catalog is coming multiple times, I'm not sure. Okay, but you see, now you see all this image. Oh, I didn't clean it up. Okay, hang on guys, I know what has happened. I need to clean up everything. Okay, so again let me clean up the browser cache. Okay, now again let me send the request. Now you see everything is from the server because you see the sizes. Okay, you see the sizes, it is from the server. Okay, and you see the response times as well, it is from the server. Okay, everything is being captured from the server. Now you see nothing is from the browser cache. Okay, otherwise it would have said from the browser cache. If I clean up now, okay, and again send the request, okay, now it will be from the browser cache. You see, it is from the disk cache or browser cache. It is not showing up the same. But if I go ahead and clean up, okay, clean up everything. Now if I send the request, it will be not from the browser or disk cache. It will start showing the actual sizes because it is getting it from the server. Okay, now you see it is showing the actual sizes because it is going and sending it from the server. Okay, it is going and getting it from the server. Okay, now guys, what I will do to capture these resources, let me clean up the browser cache. Okay, now I'll go ahead and record so that it will capture all the embedded resources. Okay, let me go start it. Transaction name, I'll say launch, L-A-U-N-C-H, launch. Okay, now let me go ahead and launch it. Okay, now the launch would have been captured. So let me go ahead and look at the recording control. Oh, I have to enable the proxy, guys. Okay, I have to enable the proxy. Okay, stop recording, clear the cache. Okay, proxy. Okay, enable the proxy. Now go ahead and record. Recording will happen. Okay, let me record for launch. Okay, the launch would have happened and the recording for launch would have been captured. Now you see only for launch how many embedded resources have captured, how many samplers have captured, maybe 10 or 15 of them or all of them. Can you do a math, guys? It will be close to 50 or 16. Okay, from 13 all the way till, okay, 28. If you do the math, it will be 15 or 16, or most or all of the embedded resources have captured. Okay, if you clear the cache, now it is capturing all the embedded resources. You're capturing all the embedded resources. Okay, so can we capture it? Yes, but do we capture or should we capture it? The answer is actually no. Okay, so have you understood so far, guys? Have you understood all of it? All of you guys, have you understood now? Just for launch, all of the embedded resources are captured in the form of samplers. For each embedded resources, each sampler has been captured. Okay, is it possible to capture? The answer is yes, but do we really need to do this? This is the point. Okay, now do we really need to do it? The answer is no. Okay, so okay, do we really need to do it? The answer is no. Okay, ideally you wanted it to be getting done, Kumar, but why is that you don't want to capture? Because each embedded resource will have, or each sampler will have certain say on the response times, and the whole purpose of creating the Jmeter is to capture the accurate response times, and each one have a certain say on the response times. Then why are we not capturing it? Why are we not capturing it? Okay, the answer for this is, okay, is if I execute this. Okay, now if I go ahead and say with one user and execute it, what happens is each one will be executed serially. Okay, after this request, and you got the response for this, then this request, you got the response for this, then this request. So if you put all these embedded resources and Jmeter and you are actually capturing the response times, it will be more like this. Okay, it will be more like this. But is that what happens in the real world? No. After the first request, then the second, then the third, then the fourth, fifth, sixth. This is what will be done by Jmeter, because after executing this request, then it will go and execute this one, then it will go execute this one, and so it will be one after another is what is captured by Jmeter, and that's not what happens in the real world. Some of this request goes in parallel and some of this request goes in serial. So if you are simulating like this, it will be not in parallel, but it will be sequential. It will be sequential, and that's not what we want. If that is the case, if you are capturing the response times sequentially, one after another, you are capturing the wrong response times. Okay, you are capturing the wrong response times, and this is the reason why you don't capture all the embedded resources. You expect, or you don't want to capture all these non-HTML resources or these embedded resources. Okay, you don't want it to capture all of it. Okay, you don't want it to capture all of it. Are we clear so far, guys? Are we clear so far? I want to ask everybody, or everything is going over your head. I want you to speak up, guys, all of you. I'm trying my level best to explain this as clearly as possible. Okay, okay, wonderful, guys, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so there's 25 of them. Okay, I want every one of you to respond, guys. I want every one of you to respond. Okay, this is not a rocket science that I'm discussing. It is simple logical things and no code, nothing I'm discussing. Okay, simple logical things I'm discussing. Okay, so Kumar, it is fine. I will not capture as you said. Okay, so how not to capture also I'll tell you how. Okay, how not to capture this embedded resources also I'll tell you. Okay, also I'll talk about it, but how do we? Okay, so as you said, I'll not capture all the embedded resources because it will be taken serially, not parallelly. Totally agree with you. I'm with you. But how do we simulate? How do we simulate that, these 16 embedded resources will have some impact, on the response times? I need that impact to be there. Okay, so what if Jmeter is running it, the response times captured by Jmeter should be as close to what it will be in the real world, or as close to what it should be on the browser. Okay, so if that is case, then I need to make sure this impact which is caused by these 16 embedded resources to be captured by Jmeter as well. How do you do it? When you play back, okay? When you play back these embedded resources, if you go to advanced, you will say that retrieve all the embedded resources for this main transaction or for this main sampler. What all the embedded resources are there, you just retrieve. So we know whatever we have captured here is wrong. So let me go ahead and delete it. Instead of selecting all of it and deleting it, I have an option. If I recorded it on the recording controller, I have a leverage. Click go here and click on this one. Clear all the recorded samplers, everything will be clear. Okay, wonderful. Why I have cleared? Because whatever I have captured, it is not correct. It will not simulate what is there in the real. Okay, whatever I have captured, the earlier one, this is correct. Okay, but I want all the impact of these 16 embedded resources to be captured by Jmeter. How do I do it? Go to advanced and simply enable this retrieve all embedded resources. Simply enable this, all the retrieve all embedded resources. Then all the 16 or 15 of them which are there will be retrieved, and that response times will be captured into this sampler itself. And that response times will be captured into these samplers. This is one of the very important thing. Okay, standards of Jmeter. Okay, scripting standards of Jmeter. Okay, scripting standards of Jmeter. What is that? You don't capture all the embedded resources, but still you can have the impact of those embedded resources on the response times. How? By enabling this particular one. You go to advanced and you say retrieve embedded resources. Just to explain this option, okay, just to explain this option, it took me 30 minutes, guys. Okay, why we need to enable this? Okay, just to explain this, how much time we have spent? 30 minutes. But in that 30 minutes, there is so much knowledge we have accumulated, I believe. Okay, we have understood what are embedded resources. We have understood that they will not be in serial, but they will be in parallel. We have understood we can capture all those embedded resources in Jmeter, but we shouldn't, is also we understood. And finally, just enabling this will take care of it, guys. Will take care of it. Are we clear, guys? Are we clear? If you just enable this one, it will, Jmeter will pull out all these 15 embedded resources, and once it pulls out all of it, it will also see, it will also capture the response times of it. Whether they are in serial, it will, and one more resource, one more thing, guys. Should I enable this, guys? Parallel downloads. Should I enable that, or should I be disabled? Option 1, enable it. Option 2, disable it, or let it be as it is. Option 1 or option 2, guys? Okay. Salayu, Dejanu, Mariatu, okay, all of them says 1. What about 25 of them? 25 of them, there are only 3. So if I do my math, 22 of them are not responding. So guys, please, okay. For some of you, it might be silly, these concepts, because you're already experts, but please participate, make this class lively. I'll get all the energy from you multiple times, I tell you, okay. So you have to enable it, because some of these resources will be pulled out parallelly, and if you wanted to simulate that as well, so you have to enable the parallel downloads. Ideally the number has to be 6, because most of the browsers, when they do parallel downloads, the maximum they allow is 6. Okay, the maximum they allow is 6. Okay, so if you can go to parallel downloads by different browsers. Okay, man, I have to always, I mean, this proxy is there, right? So whenever I enable the proxy, the internet will not work. That's the issue. Okay, so okay, somewhere it will tell you, okay, for each browser, okay, how many maximum, okay, maximum parallel downloads for different browsers. Okay. Okay, so by the browser they will give you somewhere. Okay, Firefox, it will allow 2. Firefox version. Okay, now I don't think anybody uses 2 version. 3+ it will be 6. Opera, it is 4. Okay, I mean latest versions you see it is 6. Older versions it was different, but latest versions, Firefox latest version is 6, Safari latest version is 6, IE 8 is 6, and looks like IE 10 it is allowing 8, and Chrome is 6. So most of the browsers, the parallel connections is 6. So I would like to keep it as 6. Okay, I would like to keep it as 6. So because some people will ask me why only 6. Okay, because the request, actual real request goes from the browser. Browser maximum they allow is 6. Most of the browsers, looks like IE 10 they are allowing 8 maximum, but most of them they allow 6. Okay, and these older versions, ignore it guys, nobody uses older versions these days. So let's simulate what is there in the newer versions. Okay, let's simulate what is there in the newer versions. Okay, if you want to, and if you say that all your customers are using IE 10, then probably you can put 8 as well here, but standard I've seen all of them putting 6 of them, because most of the browsers will connect 6 parallel connections, maximum of 6. Okay, if the developer said I want only these 3 to go, so it will go 3, maximum it will allow is 6. Okay, but it totally depends on the developer. If developer has sending 3 of them in parallel, even though maximum allowed is 6, only 3 requests for these embedded resources will be sent parallel. Okay, so maximum is 6. This is what you do so that you can simulate that. Okay, simulate that. Okay, are we clear all of it guys? Are we clear? Now you understood, even though Jmeter has a capability to capture all the embedded resources, we do not capture it. We do not capture it. Why? Because there are other ways to simulate that. Impact that is caused by these 16 embedded resources. Okay. Okay, now there are a couple of questions that are coming from the students. Let me try to answer that. Okay, Gaurav Date has asked a question. During execution, embedded resources will be listener under listener. Yes, Gaurav, I'll show that as well. But we are not executing today. I don't want it to overwhelm all of you by executing. There are other things that I explained before I go to the execution part. In the execution part, if I forget to show you these embedded resources, please remind me. Okay, I'll definitely. In the real world, is it always turned on or off? Proxy server. Okay. Okay, only for recording we are we are switching on the proxy server host. Okay, if not for once the recording is done, you don't want the proxy server. Okay, use it while you're doing the recording, and once the recording is done, you just disable it. Okay, without proxy, recording doesn't happen. That's why you're enabling it. If you're not doing recording at all, why would you want to enable proxy? Okay, is proxy server always be on a local host where Jmeter is installed, or any other server can be a proxy server? Dejanu, wonderful question. In the real world, in the companies, they have a separate machine for proxy server, and usually whether you use Jmeter or not, they always enable the proxy. They will always enable the proxy. If that is the case, you already have a proxy server in your company and it is already active, then you need not have to create a separate proxy server on your local machine. You can make use of the existing proxy server. Okay, whatever the proxy server and whatever the port, give that proxy server IP address and the port, and then make sure that proxy server and the port is enabled here. Okay, and then you can go ahead and start recording it. Okay, so if it is already there, then you need not have to create a new one. Make use of the existing one. If it is not there, then you have to create a new one for yourself. Okay. Okay, so recently one of the students called me saying that I'm trying to create a proxy server and record it. It's not recording, Kumar sir. Okay, then the next question I immediately asked is, in your company the proxy is already set up? He said yes. Go check in your browser if you are making use of that proxy. He said yes. Then don't create another proxy. Just make sure that in the recorder, okay, make use of the existing proxy. It worked for you. Okay. No. For execution, you do not have to disable the proxy. Okay, I'll show you that. Only for recording you need. Even for execution, you need not have to disable the proxy. Execution works. Execution in the Jmeter works irrespective of whether you disable the proxy or enable the proxy. Why? Because you see, okay, so here is what is the proxy server, right? From the browser, the request goes to the proxy server, to the actual server, and then comes back and Jmeter captures it. Once the Jmeter is captured the script, The request from the Jmeter directly goes to the server and the server sends the response back to the Jmeter. It has nothing to do with the proxy. So when you're executing the scripts from Jmeter, whether you are disable the proxy or enable the proxy, it doesn't matter at all, because the script is captured in the Jmeter and the request from Jmeter goes to the server and the response you comes back to the Jmeter, and proxy doesn't come into picture at all. So whether you disable or enable the proxy while the Jmeter execution is happening, it doesn't matter at all. I'm only enabling the proxy server so that I can use the internet. I can use the internet, not because I wanted to execute it. Are we clear, Sese? Okay. So wonderful. There are questions which are coming in, which means that you are understanding. Okay, I'm happy about that. Okay, I'm happy about that. Wonderful. Okay, and also you understood Y6, right? All of you? You understood Y6, right? All of you? Yeah, yeah. Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, even in LoadRunner, you go, there is a setting which you hardly play around, but if you go and see the setting, it will be by default 6. Okay, by default 6. If the setting you cannot find, carefully watch the log. Okay, code generation log, or not code generation log, the replay log. At the starting, it says that the number of connections to the server, maximum number of connections to the server is 6. Okay, the LoadRunner also takes care of this one, but it will never ask for you, because we know that it will be 6. I mean, all the browsers are 6, so you're putting maximum as 6. Anyways, now Kumar, okay, so I have changed this settings. Okay, wonderful. Then again I go to the next sampler. Again I need to change this. Okay, go to the next sampler. Again I change this. Okay, let's say here how many samplers are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 samplers are there. Somehow I can go to these 7 samplers and change for each of those 7 samplers. But let's say my business flow is really big and there are 30 samplers that got recorded, which means that I have to go and enable all the 30 of them. Okay, isn't it difficult, guys? Okay, now there are 7. Somehow I'll go to each sampler and enable this. Okay, but let's say my business flow is very big and 30 samplers got recorded. So isn't it a pain in the neck to go and then enable this retrieve, enable these 2 options for each of those 30 samples? What do you think, guys? Okay, isn't it a pain in the neck? Yeah, yeah. Okay, so is there an easier way? I don't want it to go and do this tedious work of going to each sampler and change it. Isn't it an easier way of doing it? Yes, there is an easier way of doing it. Okay, there is an easier way of doing it. For this, what you do is, watch carefully, guys. Okay, right click, add. Okay, and here there is something called config elements. In the config element, you see HTTP request defaults. What is it? HTTP request defaults. Here, this one, see, the structure and everything looks exactly like your normal sampler. Okay, normal sampler. Okay, but here, okay, this is HTTP request defaults. Here you go and enable this, and it's a sampler panel, 6 of them. Now, whatever is there in the HTTP request defaults, that will be applied to all the samplers if that HTTP request belongs to the same simple controller. You see, in this simple controller, there are how many samplers? There are 7 samplers. In this simple controller, I have added this HTTP request defaults. I have enabled these 2, which means that these particular options will be applied to all these 7 of them. All these 7 of them. Okay. If there are some other options which are there, this one will override that. Here, what is the option? Disabled it. Here, it is enabled it. So this one will override what are the default options that you have here. So it will go ahead and retrieve the embedded resources and parallel download 6. Even though it is not enabled here, since it is there in the defaults, it will make sure this options is applied to each of the sampler, guys. Each of the sampler. Why they have gave this option to me? So that it makes my life simple. Do I really have to use it? It's totally up to you. Okay, if you like to go and then change for each of them, all the 7 of them, okay, so you like that kind of work, you go to each one of them and change it. But if you don't, if you're not a person, you don't like all that, just add the HTTP request defaults and then make the changes, whatever the changes that you want, you put it over here, and those changes will be automatically applied to all of them. Let's say the connection timeout for all these samplers, let's say is 1000 milliseconds. Okay, so this 1000 milliseconds will be applied to all these samplers. Again, this will be applied to, let's say there is one more sampler in this recorded controller. Okay, let's say there is one sampler, some sampler is there in this recording controller, which is a test sampler, let's assume. Okay, it's a HTTP. Okay, okay, so demo, let's say it's a demo clicker. Okay, and the request, let's say it is going to, hang on guys. Okay, okay, then let's say the request is going to this particular URL. Okay, and there should be a forward slash here, I believe. No, not required. Okay, so let's say it is going to this particular URL. Let's say it is there in this recording controller, it is there. Okay, now this HTTP request defaults only applies to this 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, 1 2 3 4 5 6, only these 6 samplers, not this sampler. Okay, not this sampler, which is sign off. Okay, which is sign, whatever this one. Okay, so okay, so this, whatever the defaults which are there in this HTTP request defaults, it is applied to only these 6 samplers, not this sign off sample. Are we clear guys, all of you? Are we clear? Because why? Because this is added in this simple controller. Okay, why? Because it is added into this controller. So this HTTP request default, so it is applied to only 6 of them. This sign off is there in some other controller, so whatever the options which are there here will not be applied here. Okay, are we clear guys, all of you? Are we clear with this one? HTTP request defaults. Kumar, you're asking too many questions. I'm tired of pressing yes. I'm tired of pressing bye. So please, you will have to go through that pain. Okay? Okay? But only then I understand whether you are understanding or not. Okay? Should the HTTP request defaults be added before the recording starts? No. You can add it while you are enhancing it. Okay? Once the whole recording is done, as a part of enhancement, you can add this HTTP request defaults. Okay? Now I will make some modification to this, guys. Okay? So carefully observe, in this thread group I have 2 controllers. One is recording controller and one is simple controller. Okay, one is simple controller. I have added this HTTP request defaults under the simple controller. Now what I will do, I will take out this and I will not add it in the recording controller, I'll add it in the thread group. Okay, now you see this HTTP request defaults is there under the thread group, is there under the thread group. Okay, now you tell me, okay, option 1, this HTTP request defaults, whatever the options are there, it is applied, it is not applied to any of the samplers, option 1. Option 2, it is applies to only the samplers which are there in the recording controller. Option 3, it will apply only to the samplers which are there in the simple controller. Okay, did you understand the question, all of you? Okay, now that the HTTP request defaults is there under thread group, okay, okay, whatever the options which are there, okay, okay, it will override or it will apply those options only to the samplers which are there in recording, to all the samplers, irrespective of whether they are on this controller or this controller, or only to the recording controller, samplers which are there in the recording controller. Option 2, only this one. Option 3, only this one. Option 1, all of them. Wonderful. It applies to all of them because you see this HTTP request defaults is under the thread group, which means that what all is there under the thread group, it will apply to. There are 2 things which are there under the thread group, which is recording controller, simple controller. So, and whatever is there inside that, it will apply to all. Okay. Let's say in this simple controller, I have one more controller. Okay. One more simple controller. Okay. In that simple controller, let's say I have some request. Okay, request 1 and request 2. Okay, some request. I'm not gonna name those requests. Okay, so this HTTP request not only applies to these samplers. Okay, 1 2 3 4 5 6, but these 6 samplers, this one sampler, but also it applies to this one because this is a child of this one simple controller, and this simple controller is a child of thread group, and this HTTP request defaults are there on the level of thread group. So it applies to everything which is there under it. So it applies to this sample controller, this simple controller, and this simple controller is under this simple controller. So whatever is there under this simple controller, for those also this HTTP request defaults will be applied. Okay, just telling you why there should be one simple controller inside another simple controller. We'll talk about that later. Okay, but since the topic came, I'm just explaining how does this hierarchy work, how this hierarchy work. Okay, I think now you're slowly getting a hold of Jmeter, I believe. Okay, slowly getting that confidence. Okay, I can see from your answers. I'm so glad, guys. Okay, so pretty soon your comfort level from Jmeter in Jmeter will become really, really good, guys. Okay, trust me. Okay, wonderful. So we have looked at a couple of standards, guys. We should not. Okay, and finally, okay, let me go back to this question here. Okay, how not to capture these embedded resources. Okay, how not to capture these embedded resources. Let me answer this question. Before answering this question, okay, before answering this question, let me take a break of 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, and expect the class to go till 30 more minutes, guys. Okay, 30 more minutes. So I'll be back in 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, in 8 minutes, I'll try to come. So exactly if you're in India, at 8:30 it will start, and we'll expect the class to go for 30 more minutes. Okay, okay, guys. Is it interesting, guys? All of you? Is it interesting how the Jmeter is working? All of you? Yeah. So very first time I started looking into Jmeter, it interested me a lot. Then I got to know that this is very, very, very powerful. Okay, because you can put anything inside anything and you can customize the way you want, totally flexible. They made it 100% flexible. Okay, Atina, I'll certainly help you out. Yesterday I was trying to help you in certain ways. Okay, I'll try to help you out. Ayala, if you're there in the class, please spend some time with Atina if possible. Okay, and then try to see his issues. Ayala is there in the class? No, it's not there. Jonas is not there. Okay, and also guys, if somebody who's a friend of Atina, please help him out. Okay, if he has any issues, I'll try to help him from my side. Okay, but also okay, maybe Osman or maybe Leslie or maybe somebody who's good. Okay, so who can help you out, or somebody who's in India. Okay, maybe Raghu or Abdul. Okay, so please please help each other, guys. When you help here, your knowledge will increase multiple times. Okay, let me come back from the break and then go through certain topics, and then once we complete, I'll need half an hour more for today. Okay, thank you, guys. They make their own judgments. Hello, are you guys able to hear me? Okay, some of them are left. Okay, let's continue, guys. Let's continue, all of you. Yeah, the recording is happening. Yeah, wonderful. So before the class, we looked at a couple of standards, guys, not to record all of them, but how not to record all of them. Okay, how not to capture all the embedded resources. That is the point, right? So Kumar, why we need to do anything else to capture, not to capture it, but it is however not capturing. It is however not capturing. It's however not capturing as it is coming from cache. Okay, as it is coming from cache, it was not, however Jmeter was not capturing. What else we need to do? I mean, however it's not capturing, what is the big deal? I mean, what is that we actually need to do? Okay, to make it capture, what did I do, guys? I've cleared the browser cache so that the request actually goes to the server and get it from the server and make sure that the Jmeter captures it. Okay, so for capturing it, I had to do some extra steps. But for not capturing, what is that, that I have to do extra? So in this case, okay, in this case, okay, some of these, okay, in this case, okay, in this case, some of the embedded resources, okay, are coming from cache. Okay, only in this case it's coming from cache. If it's not coming from cache, if it is coming from the server, it will be captured. Okay, all these embedded resources. Okay, just in this case, in this application, in this case, it is coming from the browser cache, and hence it is not capturing. But what if it's not coming from the browser cache or memory cache? It's not coming from the cache. Then my Jmeter will capture it. So I don't want my Jmeter to capture these embedded resources. Okay, so how do I make sure that embedded resource, whether they are coming from the browser cache or not coming from the browser cache, I don't care. I don't want my Jmeter to capture any of these embedded resources, usually non-HTML resources. Okay, in these embedded resources, okay, there are HTML resources, okay, and there are non-HTML resources. The ones which are not HTML, they are non-HTML resources, which are usually images on style sheets and all that, okay, or non-HTML. So you don't want any non-HTML resource to be captured, or any of the embedded resources to be captured. Only the main ones I wanted to capture. Okay, how do we make sure that it doesn't capture? Okay, watch carefully, guys. In recording, okay, you go to something called request filter. What is that? Request filtering. In the request filtering, what is that you will do? Okay, you see URL patterns to exclude. Okay, what is that you do? URL patterns to exclude. Okay, just you say add suggested excludes. Click on that. Add suggested excludes. Click on that. Okay, automatically anything which starts with .bmp or CSS or JS or GIF or ICO or JPEG or JPEG or PNG or SDF, WOF, WOF2, all these are either, they usually they refer to non-HTML resources, which is basically a CSS files or image files, and you're excluding all these URLs, okay, which contains images or style sheets. So it will not capture any of them. Just while recording, do a request filtering and make sure anything which matches this pattern, it will not exclude. Okay, it will exclude all of it. It will not record any of them. Okay, are we clear, guys? Are we clear? This is how we make sure that all the embedded resources, most of them will not be captured while recording. Are we clear with this, guys? All of you? Abdul has been totally silent today. Not sure whether he is actually listening to the class. Okay, and most of them have left. Is it boring, or you went past the class times? Okay. Okay, Sam, can we do the same thing by clicking URLs must match? URLs to include, that's what you're saying? Okay. Sam, I didn't understood that question clearly. Just maybe unmute yourself and speak, because if you want particular things to be included at any cost, you can put it, but you do not have to actually put it here, because it however includes it. But the ones which are excludes, you can put those patterns here. Generally what I do is add suggest excludes, okay, automatically it will add it, and that should be good enough typically. Jmeter guys are smart enough to identify what needs to be excluded. So I'll leave it to them. Okay, Sam. Config element. Okay, so you want me to go to the thread group? Okay, okay. Config element. Okay, HTTP request defaults. Okay, and this is what you add, not while recording. After the recording is happening, or recording has happened, then you can add that. And the URLs must match here. Where is that? I didn't get this one. URLs must match. I don't know what it is. Oh, here. I haven't used this option, to be honest, but this is after the recording is happened. You can play back. Maybe, as you said, we can try that. Okay, if you want, if you, let's say, if you have recorded something that you don't want, and you don't want it to play back, maybe you can use this option so that it plays back only those URLs which will match, I believe. But I haven't played around with that, Sam. But it's a good one. You brought it up. Maybe you guys can play around with this and see if, put this URL HTTP request defaults in the simple controller, and you say it should match blah blah blah, and let's see what it will do. Okay, but I don't think, I'm not sure how this option works. Maybe you can try it, but what I am guessing is if you put a regular expression here and they say that these are the URLs which should match, only those URLs I think it will play back. It will not play back the other URLs. Okay, as you said, Sam, yes, probably that could be right. Okay, yeah. And Dejanu, why is it needed? What is that needed, Dejanu? I didn't get it. Why is it needed? Because you don't want to capture all the embedded resources. Okay, you want to capture only the main one. If you capture all the embedded resources, then the response times captured could be more than what it is, because some of them could be parallel, some of them could be in sequential. So you don't want it to capture all of them, so you are purposefully excluding it. And how you can purposefully exclude it? By putting it over here. Okay, request filtering, and make sure you filter it over here. Okay, but good one, Sam. Okay, Sam, you have already used Jmeter, or is just a guess that you came? I mean, is it just a guesswork? I'm just curious. Just a guess. Yeah, I'm guessing as well. Probably you can play around with that. Usually, this is what I have done in my projects. Okay, because this is what I've seen in a lot of people doing it. This is what I've done, but this is a good one. Okay, maybe you can try this. Okay. Okay. I've answered that question as well. How to exclude this? Okay, how to exclude the embedded resources so that my Jmeter does not capture all of it. Okay. Now, okay. Let me go to this one. Okay. Let me see. Okay, these standards, okay, on how to handle these embedded resources in HTML resources. Cache is missed. We will go and we'll understand how the cache works. Okay, so let's go through this article, guys. I'm sending this article to you. Very, very, very handy article. Okay, I want you to everybody to read everything which is there in this article, guys. Okay, everybody to understand this article and go through this article. Okay, just now I have explained these two, guys. Okay, retrieve embedded resources and parallel download should be 6. Just now I've explained. I've spent the whole class explaining as to why this option to be enabled. Okay, that is one of the good standards. And here he gave with an example. Okay, without embedded resources, how much is the response times? 113. With the embedded resources, how much is the response times? 672. Almost 6 times more. So, and what is the data that has been downloaded without embedded resources? Okay, only 7,000 or 7 MB. Okay, with embedded resources, close to 290 MB. Lot of information has been downloaded. So, with the embedded resources is what you usually do it. It is very, very important. This gives you the accurate response times. Okay. By the way, this is in milliseconds, guys. So this is 0.1 second. This is 0.6 second. Okay. And somebody, Gaurav Tate, okay, Gaurav, okay, Gaurav, are you there? Gaurav, are you there?
Yeah, Kumar, yeah.
I'm going to show this again by executing it as well. But here you see, without embedded resources, none of the embedded resources you can see in the view. When you have executed with the embedded resources, you see all these embedded resources. Okay? without some.
Yes, right. Understood. Yep.
And also the resource gets also easy, right? Without the embedded resources, it's just one thing is yes. So enable this one, enable this one. All the embedded resources will be downloaded to the server, which you can see in the QoS, which I'm going to demonstrate it well. But just it is showing on the web page, I'm showing it to you. Okay? But however, I'm going to show it to you. Okay? And you see, do not record the embedded resources. This is just now we have discussed. And how do you do it? By excluding the patterns. You see, add suggested excludes. By excluding the patterns, you do not record. This is the second standard, guys. Okay, the first standard is okay, include the embedded resources while playing back, but exclude the embedded resources while recording. Okay, do not record the embedded resources, and I've just shown you how to do that. Okay, do not include the external embedded resources in your load test. Yesterday when I was recording, you saw something like, something which are completely not related to the our application got recorded. Yesterday you have seen it, guys. Okay, something which is not related to your application gets recorded. Like here, ajax.googleapis has been recorded. Here he is recording an application called blaze-demo.com. Okay, so most of the recording happened with the Blaze demo, but some of them is not related to Blaze demo has been recorded, which is ajax.googleapis.com. Okay, so you have to exclude that. You have to exclude that. Okay, and how do we do it? Okay, you go to the actual. Okay, okay. Now I understood. Sam, pay attention here. Sam, pay attention. Not only Sam, everybody. Okay. Now you say you recorded the blazedemo.com and then you have enabled this embedded resources. Okay, you have enabled this retrieve all embedded resources. Okay, while retrieving these embedded resources, you see it has retrieved 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 3 and 3, 6 embedded resources, but some of them are not related to this application. Okay, you see out of the 6, 5 of them are related to your application. Just by looking at the URL, you know these 5 of them are related to the application, but this one of them is not related to your application. It is totally belongs to something else called googleapis.com. Okay, so if you wanted to exclude those, okay, you can go to this. Okay, and let's say this is happening for this launch sampler. For this launch sampler, there are 6 embedded resources are coming, and out of this, okay, there are some of them which is not belong to the application. Then you can say, okay, so you see for this launch, you said retrieve all embedded resources and parallel downloads is 6. Let's say for this launch, 6 embedded resources are downloaded. Out of this, 5 are related to this one and 1 is not related to this one, and one is, let's say, okay, one is, let's say, is ajax google.apis. Okay, so you can say that, okay, download anything which is related to okay, which is related to demopaper.in.net, and don't download anything else which is other than that. Okay, then how can you do that? Okay, so put that .com and you say download anything related to this demo kicker. So how do you do it? Put a question mark I before that dot star and then a dot star after it. Okay, I'll talk about this when I talk about the regular expressions. Let's not talk about it right now as to what this means, but what this means is, okay, a question mark, and what is this? Is an exclamation mark or I'm not sure why he has put I, but let's go ahead and put I, then dot, okay, and then star, okay, and then a dot star here as well. Okay, which means that it includes only the URLs which are related to demokicker.com, but demokickermonitoring.net and everything else it will exclude. Okay, or you can add that in the HTTP defaults as well. Okay, so that it applies to all the samplers. So you can add that to the HTTP defaults so that, okay, it applies to all the samplers. So anything which is not belonging to the demokickermonitoring.net, it will exclude. That's what it means, guys. Okay, that's what it means. Okay, yeah, this is exactly, he has taken it from here. You see, question mark dot, okay, dot star and then a dot star at the end is what he has added. Okay. I'll come to this. This is what is grouping. When I talk about regular expressions, I'll talk about this, guys. Okay, but not right now. I need to talk about regular expressions when I talk about correlations, and that is the reason. That is when I'll take up this. Okay, but dot star means anything could be there before this, and dot star means anything could be there after this. Okay, you see, this could be anything. Question mark I, okay, dot star, anything could be there. Okay, so this I could be there or not there. This question mark means this I could be there or not there. It is still okay. And dot star means it could be any letters, any number of letters. Okay, I think you have, whoever has attended my load runner, they have seen what is regular expressions are, and now they know what is this one actually. Okay, but anyways, I'll talk about it later at the later point of time as to what this one. But overall, what this means is it will allow anything related to democaker-monitoring.net, and anything which is not related to that, it will just ignore it. Okay, you can put it on a sampler level, or you can put it for all the samplers by using the HTTP request defaults, which means that it will be applied to all the samplers. Okay, are we clear, all of you guys? Are we clear? Okay, so Narendra Rama, stay back after the class. Those specific questions which are not related to what is happening in the class, I'll take it after the class. Okay, Rama, okay, please hold back. I will certainly answer that. Some questions which are not related to the topic that I am discussing, it will be deviation. Okay, and everybody will be affected. Okay, there is a flow that we are going on, and everybody is deeply involved in that. Okay, so if we deviate again, this will be a problem. So Rama, definitely I'll take that question. I know why it is happening, but you have to stay back after the class. I need only 1 minute to explain that. Okay, but stay back. Okay, let me complete all this. There are 3 points. Okay, 3 points are covered so far, guys. First point is what? Okay, first point is what? Include the retrieve embedded resources, parallel downloads. Okay, second point is what? Okay, second point is don't record the embedded remote resource calls. Okay, and third point is what? While playing back, if there is any external embedded resources, you don't want them. How do you do it? In the HTTP request, you say, include only the ones which matches your URL and exclude everything else. Okay, and fourth one, browser cache. Okay, and okay, fifth one, they are asking you to use the HTTP request defaults, which I've already told you. And sixth one, everything putting together. So there is no sixth point. Fifth point, I've already told you. Make use of the HTTP request defaults. Okay. So fourth one is what I have to explain, guys. Don't forget about browser cache. Okay. What does this mean? Okay. Carefully observe, guys. Carefully observe. Okay. Very first time. Okay. You are browsing this democaker application. Okay, browser, okay, will not have any information of this website. Okay, any information of this website. Okay, or in other words, browser does not have any cache regarding this application. Do you agree with me, guys? Very first time, never in my life on my computer I have browsed this JPEG store democaker application. Okay, JPEG store democaker application. Okay, the very first time I am browsing this JPEG store democaker application on my computer. Okay, then browser will not have any browser cache. Okay, or my system doesn't have any cache of this application. So what does it do? It tries to retrieve everything. Okay, so let me clean up my browser here. Browser cache. Okay, CA. Okay, let me clean up all type. Okay. Now watch carefully, guys. Okay, this is the very first time I'm browsing this democaker application. Okay, so democaker application. I'm launching the application. Then what happens? Everything will be downloaded from the server. Every single thing, images or CSS, everything will be downloaded from the server, which is quite evident here. The very first time that you're browsing, everything will be downloaded from the server. Okay, everything will be downloaded from the server. Are we clear with this point, guys? Are we clear with this one? I'm about to end in 5 to 10 minutes, guys. Okay, are we clear with this one? The very first time you are browsing, obviously your browser is not, I mean, it doesn't know everything is there in the water, or all the websites which are there in the world. It cannot store the cache for all the websites. The very first time when you are browsing, it will get it from the server. Okay, it will get it, everything will be downloaded from the server. And now once it is downloaded from the, everything it got or downloaded from the browser, the second step is browser, okay, will store some of this information, or in other words, some of the embedded resources, some of the, okay, embedded resources, okay. So browser will store some of this information, or in other words, when I said some of the information, some of the embedded resources, okay, in the cache. Okay, why it will store it in the cache? Because the next time when we browse, okay, now okay, it will, okay, it will get some embedded resources, or I'll say embedded resources from server, okay, and some from browser cache. Okay, and why this arrangement is done? So that there is a lot of reasons why this arrangement is done: to decrease load on server. And typically whatever you are getting it from the browser cache, they are not the ones which will change. These images and all that, they are not the ones which will change. So the server need not have to send this all the time. The very first time it will send, the next time it says go get it from the browser cache, because this is not something which will change from user to user or all the time. Okay, so why this arrangement is done? To decrease the load on server, to decrease network traffic, okay, and increase the response times. Okay, increase the response times. Okay, so that's the reason why. Okay, the very first time, okay, the very first time, okay, all the embedded resources, okay, will be pulled out from server. Okay, the very first time all the embedded resources will be pulled out from the server. Okay, and now once it has pulled out all the embedded resources, it has pulled out from the server. Some of them it will store it in browser cache, not all of them, but some of them. Okay, it will store it in the browser cache, and the next time you visit the same website and the same page, now whatever is there in the browser cache, it will get it from the browser cache, and whatever the things which we need to get it from the server, it will get it from the server. And this arrangement is done to decrease the load on the server, to decrease the network traffic, and increase the, by doing all this, you are increasing the response times. Are we clear, guys? This is what is happening in the real world. Okay, real world with the browser, any browser, I don't care. Okay, this is what is happening, okay, in the real world in the browser. Are we clear with this, guys? Are we clear with this? All of you, are we clear with this as to what is happening in the real world? Okay, now we need to simulate same thing in Jmeter. Okay, so we need to simulate the same thing in the Jmeter. How can we simulate the same thing in the Jmeter? Okay, we need to do a very simple, guys. Okay, how do you simulate the browser cache in the Jmeter? Okay, simply, okay, add this element called HTTP cache manager. Okay, so I'll show you how to add it. So let's say for all these embedded resources, I want this cache management to be taken care of. Okay, when I said cache management, all these 1, 2, 3 steps. Okay, especially these 2 and 3 steps that needs to be taken care of. Okay, I want this to be taken care of by Jmeter. Okay, so every time, very first time it should go, but every time it should not go. That's what I wanted it to be taken care of. Okay, you see, Jmeter needs to handle this situation as well. Otherwise, it will be creating hundreds of extra requests that do not happen in reality. That's the reason why very important to add the HTTP cache manager to the test plan. Okay, so what do? I want only this 6 or 7 embedded resources, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 embedded resources to have the cache management. Go to the simple controller, add, go to the config element, and is there something called a cache manager here, guys? In this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yes, we have a cache manager. just click on that one, and whether it is there added at the bottom or whether it is there at the top, it is same thing, but visually it looks good. To see this cache manager under the simple controller, visually is look. So I am moving it to the top. That's what is my personal preference, but the Jmeter will work fine if you add it after 12 or if you add it before 5. Jmeter will work absolutely in the same way, okay, as long as it is there in the simple controller, as long as it's there in the simple controller. Now the cache manager will be taking care for all these 6 embedded resources, guys. Okay, okay. Are we clear, guys? All of you, are we clear? So this is what he's asking you to do. Okay, so you don't want extra requests to be sent all the time. Okay, you see, so Jmeter acts exactly like a real browser with regards to handling the embedded resources cache. Okay, that's what is important. Okay, so this go through this again. Every single point which is there in this article is very important if you want to capture the accurate response times in Jmeter, and every single point here has been told to you or explained in the class in a best possible way is what I'm thinking. Okay, we spend a lot of time looking at this. Okay, I want you to again go through this every single point which is there in that. Play around. When I said play around, create the scripts on the JPEG store, visually see what is happening, man. Okay. Today we're going to stop here. There will not be any classes tomorrow and day after tomorrow, and after that there is a class. The next class for US folks will be on Sunday night, Indian folks will be on Monday morning. In the next class we will go ahead and execute the test, guys. Okay, so next class we will see all the things which we have discussed today, embedded resources. We'll go ahead and see all those in the next class, guys. Okay, in the next class. Are we okay, guys? All of you, are we okay? All of you, are we clear with whatever is being taught in the class so far?
Kumar, I have a question.
Yeah.
To record, can we record this cloud applications, SaaS applications, Jmeter?
Okay. So now, Swarna, I believe Swarna is the person who's asking the question. Okay. So Swarna, let me take your question. And there are 2 people who wanted help. Athena, please stay back. Narendra Rama, please stay back. Okay. Both of you, I request you to stay back so that I'll clear your question. So when you said cloud applications, okay, this is what I believe when you said cloud applications, Swarna. Okay. Your app server, okay, web app server I would say, okay, and DB server is there on the clouds, right? This is what you meant, Swarna?
Yes, Kumar.
Yeah. So irrespective of whether they are on the cloud or they are on non-cloud, okay, your application is accessed from the browser itself. Do you agree?
Yes.
Okay, then it doesn't matter in the way we handle this on the chain.
Yeah, actually, what happens, the difference what I saw was when we go with the HTTP, like in on-premises applications, like we do have access to the web servers and DB servers, right?
Right.
So the cache will be on the browser side.
Right.
Right. But the cloud applications, the cache is at the client side.
Client side, client itself is a browser, right?
Meaning, like, whatever when you open the browser on your laptop, so the data will be stored in your laptop machine. So the cache is in your laptop, not in the browser. Yeah. So how can we handle that one?
Oh, when you said it's in the laptop, which location in the temp folder?
Not temp. It's a garbage collector, right? Like we do have a garbage collector on our machine too, and that's what I heard. Like that's where we were using the true client and in the LoadRunner, and it was using more memory of the machines. So when we use the load generators, it will take the memory footprint is more compared to the HTTP protocol.
You're confusing confusing yourself with two things, Vanna, here. You are mixing the browser as well as the load runner. Let's not even talk about the load runner. Okay, let's not get there. Okay, let's talk about only the cache part. Okay, so when the irrespective, I mean, it totally depends. It's not just because cloud, the cache is stored somewhere. It totally
Because
depends
it's
on.
asynchronous calls, not synchronous. Synchronous calls is like it will go and store.
So, okay, there are too many things that we are discussing, Swarna.
Yeah.
Okay, when we talk
Yeah.
about asynchronous calls and synchronous calls, okay, this has nothing to do with cloud or non-cloud. There are so many non-cloud applications which I've seen asynchronous calls. Okay, for example, typically when we talk about asynchronous calls, there are three type of asynchronous calls. But to get a feel for what is an asynchronous call, okay, typically let's go and then let's watch the live scoreboard, okay, of some of them, okay, on anything. I don't have a live scoreboard on anything, but let's say I'm watching the live scoreboard for this one, okay. What happens without you refreshing, the scoreboard refresh for every 30 seconds. Did you see that?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. It continuously refreshes. But you as a person didn't ask you to refresh, but automatically the client is refreshing. Okay. This is an asynchronous call. You
This is
understand what it is,
synchronous,
Swana?
right? This is synchronous call, right? Like if it goes to the server and getting back the response is synchronous. Asynchronous means like whatever the data it is you are sending, it is not storing onto the server immediately, database server. It does later on.
Okay. So
Swarna, I think what Kumar is trying to say is the example what he said mentioned just now. It's a push, right? There's no request going there, just response coming from the server.
yeah. So there are three types of asynchronous calls, right? One is push, one is
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I got it. Thanks, Abdul.
okay. Let me see.
No
I
problem.
mean,
So every
let's
time
go
the response is coming from the server without the request.
request that you are sending. You see,
Okay.
whatever I have discussed, there are three types of asynchronous calls. Okay, polling, long polling, and push. Okay, you look at it, Swanna, carefully. Polling means client sends the HTTP request to the server at regular intervals. Okay,
Right.
the server responds with updates, and this is a result updates the application interface inside the browser. So this is what I was trying to tell you. Polling. Okay, so at a regular intervals, continuously the client sends the request. So this is the asynchronous call. Long polling means client sends the HTTP. Okay, let me go ahead and look at it. Okay, in a better way. Okay, so you see polling, client sends the HTTP request to the server at regular intervals. The server responds with updates, and this is a result of updates the application interface inside the browser. So it will update something on the browser. Long polling, you see, client sends the HTTP request to the server. Whenever there is an update available on the server, it responds back. Okay, so as soon as the client receives the response, it issues another request to the server. This is what is long polling. Click info or any score, any website wherein it, or maybe the stock exchange or something like that. Okay, without you do anything, it will refresh. So this is basically, these are all the asynchronous calls. Polling, long polling means whenever there is an update, it will send you. Push means it is an again different thing. Client sends the HTTP request to the server, server responds with the response, server responds with the response that appears to never end. So it will keep the connection always open. I haven't seen a push, but definitely polling and long polling. In LoadRunner, we can handle this polling, and long polling I haven't handled it, but polling I have handled it in the LoadRunner. Okay, but this, whatever it is, synchronous, asynchronous, okay, it has nothing to do with cloud or non-cloud. It can be implemented on the cloud application. It can be implemented on a non-cloud application. Okay. Okay. Are we clear, Swarna?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yes.
coming back to the question, your cloud application, irrespective of where your servers are, okay, it doesn't matter how we do that in Jmeter. In Jmeter, the application is still accessed from the browser, and the Jmeter will send, I mean, you record the same way, and the Jmeter will capture the same samplers, and when you send the request now, it goes to the servers which are there on the cloud, not somewhere located.
Okay.
Okay,
So
that's and
why I'm
user
asking you is
cache,
like
let
in
me
LoadRunner,
let me
I tried the same cloud application through web HTTP protocol, and I could not capture the server responses.
Okay, that could be because of various reasons, not just because it's on the cloud. Okay, so we cannot assume that okay, since it's a cloud, it's not captured. There are hundreds of applications which I'll show you that you have to play around, tweak around, do lot of work so that my LoadRunner captures it. Okay, if the LoadRunner is not capturing it, I've seen a lot of people do this. Okay, other people, whoever is there, you can stay back and look at it. Okay, so this is the launch, right? Okay, capture it for launch. Okay, and then click on sign in. Okay, hang on guys, there is something called network, preserve the log. Okay, so this is for login and sign on. Okay, see carefully what I'm doing, Swarna. Okay, so save all the hair with the content. Okay, okay, so now hair file is created. Okay, you see this is a hair file. You go to the properties, it is a hair file. Okay, and this is what a lot of people I've seen doing it. Okay, go to the just a drag drop, automatically the script will be created. It will take a little bit of time. Okay, if it's not recording, there are various reasons why it is not recording. Just because it's on cloud, it's not that. Okay, there are multiple ways. You can use the fiddler to get it work. You can use the app files to get it work, but nothing is working. Then this is when you can use TrueClient. But I've seen so many non-cloud applications wherein web, it was my web, I mean my servers was not, my VUGen was not recording, so I had to jump to something else. Now you see the script has been recorded. Can you see this, Swarna?
Yeah.
Okay, it can be done. There are so many ways it can be done. And you see here, polling and non-polling, these are the asynchronous calls. You see poll 1, okay? So
Yeah.
all will be sent multiple times. You see this one, this is polling, okay? So this is for asynchronous code, which means that all this one is done for the polling and it will be sent multiple times, okay?
Okay.
Okay, so coming back to the question, okay, what is happened, okay? In your case, this is what I believe would have happened. Recently, I've done a Jmeter project, same thing happened to me, okay? I've recorded everything in the Jmeter, okay?
Okay.
And when we are playing back, okay, my Jmeter hanged up, okay? Hanged up on me, okay? So maybe that's what would have happened, right? VUGen has hanged up, right?
No, it was not recording the things and the correlation. I just wanted to do the correlation, but I could not find anything in the response.
Okay, okay. That is because some of the requests could be missing. Okay, I need
That's
to
why
look.
we use the true client protocol.
Yeah. So it is missing. That doesn't mean that it's because of cloud it is missing, and your LoadRunner is not capable of doing it. It's not like that. Okay, it is missing because you haven't enabled right options, or maybe something has messed up, or some more research has to be done to capture those requests, or maybe some of them are following some other protocol. Okay, this is the reason why people give you when you create the scripts, right? Okay, when you create the script, right, there are two options: single protocol, multi-protocol. Okay, so which means that one web HTTP HTML, you might have to use some other protocol with it so that it captures that. Recently, what happened? Okay, for one of the person, it was not capturing, as you said. Okay, then after understanding the architecture, I understood that some of them are in LDAP. Okay, so I've enabled both these protocols and then created the script. Then it has captured everything. Then I could actually correlate it. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
Okay, for TrueClient, you don't have to put all that. Okay, so there could be multiple reasons why that particular thing was not captured or couldn't have captured. Maybe it was there in the cache. Then and then you have to clear the cache and record it so that it captures the complete content.
It was CRM application, Dynamics 365.
Maybe whatever it could be, something could be there in the
So you
cache.
think it can be recorded for that application through LoadRunner?
Anything could be recorded as long as it's there on HTTP.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Typically for CRM or Salesforce or SAP, right? We prefer
Kumar,
TrueClient.
I think uh, the real advantage of true client over the HTTP request, if you want to just give in 2 line, what would be the major change things that will benefit from HTTP true web client?
Okay, the major benefit is, okay, when we talk about the response times, okay, we are talking about web HTTP HTML, okay, we capture the response times HTML, okay, we capture the response times, okay, but not this response times does not include, okay, does not include page rendering time, okay, but when you
Client
go
side.
protocol, okay, it captures the page rendering time as well, which some people call it as the response times on the client side. Okay, if you go with the true client, it captures the response times include the page rendering. Are we okay?
Yeah, but the problem with the true client is, yeah, scripting is easy, but while executing the users is like we can't
Yeah.
execute multiple users.
So you
So,
get something, you have
right?
to give something.
Can we convert? I think we can convert the true client to web HTTP, but again we need to do the correlation, I guess.
Yes, I have never seen anybody convert a true client to correlation HTTP. I'm not sure as well. Okay, maybe there could be, but again,
Yeah,
it has.
because I could not do more than 150 concurrent users. Usually I used to do at least 800 to 1000 concurrent users when I.
And one LG, how many it has provided, Swarna? Just out of curiosity, I'm asking. How many
I
users it has provided?
used uh, I just did only 110 or 115. That's it.
One.
LGs asking will LGs?
One LG has supported 100 users. That's what you're
No,
saying?
no, no, no. For TrueClient, it did not support 100. It supported only 10 to 8, depending on the memory. If I have
10.
more RAM, yeah, RAM should be more, then it can be. I think for 2 GB, it's 2 to 3, depending on the business scenario.
I understand. It depends on the business scenario. It depends on the LG. But one LG, it has given 10 users, right? Approximately. I just want to understand.
I used Azure. On Azure, I used the 16 GB, I guess, and then I used 10 users.
And 16 GB has given you how many? 10 users, is it?
10 users, yes.
Okay. Because there's a girl who called me
To
yesterday and said that I have
80% consumption of the CPU utilization, which is
So you
not
are
good.
actually already killing it. 16 GB, you're already killing it, and it gave you only 10 users. Okay.
Yeah.
Because recently there is a girl who called me and said, I have an LG of 8 GB, sir, and it is giving me hardly three virtual users. Is that
Yes,
how it?
yes, yes,
Then
yeah.
it makes sense. Yeah, it makes
Yeah,
sense.
what they can do is, what I did was to find out that memory footage. I was just running and checking the CPU with one user, how much it was taking. So
Both you should.
it was like really painful that time actually. Then what I did was I asked for 10 laptops. Yeah,
Okay.
that was very, very hectic actually. So
Okay.
10 laptops, we have to install blah blah all manual stuff. But before I did on Azure, like I um, learned how to install the VMs on Azure. Somehow because of that project, I learned that one too.
Okay. Okay. Fine.
Yeah. So, but
And
again, and Azure, the data centers will be not near to that locations, right? If I want to do it from Cebu or China or from India. So what I did was I preferred to have a computer or laptop in that location and then use it as a LG and use one user test
you
run.
could have used the virtualization. That is possible.
Huh?
You
Oh,
not
I
have to put
did not do that.
the
I did
virtual
not
thing
do
on
that
China. You could have
virtualization.
used the virtualization. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
So now
thank
let
you.
me take the next question. Okay. So next question is Narendra. I'll come to you, Atina, because I need to take your system. But before that, I'll come to Rama's question. Narendra, Rama, are you there?
Yes, Kumar.
Narendra, yeah,
Yes, yes, Kumar.
let me understand what is the problem. Okay, then I'll come to Atina. Okay, so now Rama, please, you are the presenter. You can share the screen.
What's happened? No,
Yesterday, whatever no we discussed, right? In view result tree, all the logs I have captured actually. Once after closing my Jmeter JMX file, after again I am trying to open, but my log generation file I am unable to see my log generation file actually. So that is the
Those are
problem which I am facing.
okay. So I'll tell you what has happened. Okay. So this is what is happened during the recording. Okay. It's all captured. That's what you're saying, right? Okay.
Yes, yes.
Now let me save this. Okay. Let me save this on the desktop. Okay. Now, okay. Let me close this. Okay. I've closed it. Now you're saying that you have opened it again. Okay. And you're not able to see it anything on the, yes, all this will be goes away. Okay, so this is the problem that you have in Jmeter, Narendra.
Yes.
Okay, but you want it to be there. Okay, you want it to be there. I'll tell you how to do that. Okay, so let me clear the recording controller. Okay, okay, let me record it. Now when I record it, everything will be captured on the results tree, but you say that save it over here. Okay, in the view results tree JMX. Okay, okay, save it over here. I think it is not JMX, it will be JTL, I believe. Okay, maybe it's a JTL. Okay, so I'll say test.jtl. Okay, I'm not sure about the extension, we'll try with that. Okay, now what happens, Rama, whatever is captured here, it will be stored in this particular file. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. Okay, first let me enable the proxy. Samay, you understood what I'm trying to do?
Yes, Kumar.
Okay, now I'll go ahead and start recording. I just need to figure out the extension. Okay, uh, okay, all of it is captured, and I'm sure there is a log that got generated. The log is generated, and hopefully it has been stored into this test.jtl. Okay, so which is there in the desktop. Okay, so you see two files have been generated, test.html and this one. Okay, now, okay, now let me save this. Let me save this. Okay, and close this one. Okay, now let me bring it up again. So we expect that nothing will be there in the results, this one. Okay, now browse. You see it came back, right?
okay.
Rama, what I have done is I have stored it into a particular file so that
Yes,
in
yes.
case if I want it, I can get it back.
Okay.
And that file I have stored it over here. Maybe you can create a folder for your script so
But
that this
we
file
need
and the script will
to
be
we
someplace.
need to save before starting our recording itself, right?
Otherwise
Yes.
it will not. Before starting the recording
Right.
itself, you have to give a browser, and this should
Okay.
be a .jtl file. It's not a .jmx. The whole
Okay.
script is a .jmx, and the log, or this, this is what we call it as a log. It is a .jtl file.
Got you. Got you. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can you try it on your system? Okay. But
Yeah,
make
I
sure
will.
it's
I
a
will do.
okay. So
Okay.
JTL, I don't know full form. I think J stands for Jmeter, T stands for maybe test, L stands for log, I think.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
And yeah, and also Swarna, if you're listening, okay, maybe if in the JMeter, okay, the script is so big that if the JMeter is hanging, you can go and basically what I can say is you can increase the heap size of JMeter. You said on the client there is a heap size, right? So that heap size, we are not talking about the application, we are talking about the tool, the LoadRunner tool or the JMeter tool, and we can increase the heap size. Okay, so if that is nothing to do with the applications, to be honest. Okay, So if you're thinking about Jmeter and if you want to increase the heap size, okay, in the Jmeter bin folder, go to the properties file. You see Jmeter properties file, you go to the properties, okay, go to the properties file and you see search for size, okay. Size is usually done by XMS or XMX, okay. You can increase the heap size. Just give me 1 minute. I think. Okay, hang on. I think it is in this properties file or it could be some other file. Let me search. How many files are there? User file. Maybe this file you have to increase. Okay. It could be either in this Jmeter properties file or user properties file. XMS and XMX is there. Okay. XMX. Or maybe let's say X. It's not there. Okay. Just give me 1 moment. Let me search for it online.
Okay.
I've done it. I've done it recently. My Jmeter was hanging up. It doesn't have enough heap to handle the application because everything is being downloaded to the client. So I have to increase the Jmeter heap size. Okay. Where is it? Jmeter.bat file. Okay. Yeah. This is a Jmeter file. I think this is a bat file that they're got. Yeah, this is a Jmeter. Jmeter. I think this is a bat file. Yeah, maybe here. This is the batch file. Okay, batch file is batch file. Go to properties. So open in Notepad++. Okay, and maybe search for Control F. Okay, heap. Yeah. So you can increase the heap size from here. Yeah, you see, here is where you can increase the heap size. Somewhere here you see XM max post will says is this one. Okay, you have to search with XMX. Okay, you see XMS, how much is there? Minimum is 3 GB and XMX maximum is 3 GB. You can increase this heap size. Can you see that, Swarna?
Yes, Kumar. Yeah, I can see it.
What I'm sure you are talking about, because in my application recently it was there on the cloud and it was sending a lot of information to the client, huge bunch of information, and
Yes.
all that needs to be stored in Jmeter. It was not necessarily needs to be cached. It has nothing to do with cache. Whatever has been cached, it was cached, but remaining it was sending it to the client, and all that information Jmeter needs to handle. So this heap size was not good enough, so I've increased this to 6G. Okay, and then my Jmeter was working. Okay, and that's exactly, I believe that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, could be.
Okay, you have to, there is no heap size on the application. Okay, because the application is done, I mean,
Exactly.
used by what? Browser. Okay, browser, it will, whatever the client gives, it will just show you. It is not a program, so it doesn't have an heap size. But you have to handle that with a tool called LoadRunner or Jmeter. Then the LoadRunner Jmeter has to handle all that data, and all that data will be there on the Jmeter and LoadRunner heap, not on the application heap. And you have to increase this heap size. So this is what we go to the Jmeter bat file, and you see XMS and XMS. XMS is the maximum heap and XMS is the minimum heap. So you have to increase this one. So that's
So
what might have been.
we can increase any number.
It totally depends, right? Let me see, I have how much on my system. Okay, I have 16 GB. So definitely out of 16 GB, you see how much is usable? 15.7 is usable. And some of them will go to OS and all that, and some of them will go to different applications. So you want everything to be used by Jmeter, then you can put it to Jmeter, but you have no other application will work.
Okay. But this Jmeter is an executable file, right, on this machine. So if we want to put the load, can we put it on the same, or do we have anything we need to use to execute the load? Like
I'm
control.
usually running it from here only, okay, which I will show you. Load test also will take 20 users. Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay.
if you don't want it, then you have to go with a master slave, which I'll talk about later.
Okay.
Okay. Which is
Okay.
also
Yeah.
part.
Okay. Okay. Thank
Okay.
you, Kumar.
Sure. Okay. So coming back, guys, Atina, are you there? Still there? I think Narendra Rama's question is a very valid question. I've cleared. Atina, are you there?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, please unmute yourself. Now tell me, how can I help you, sir?
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I can hear you. How can I help you?
So today, let me share you my screen. I have everything.
Yeah.
I download Java.
Okay, I made you as a presenter. Okay, now you can share your screen.
Okay, okay. Uh, so can you see me now?
Yeah. Yeah, I can see your system.
So I have Apache Jmeter right here.
Okay, let me take,
I'm gonna try to open it.
Athena, let me take your controls so that it becomes easy for me. Okay, give me the controls.
Okay,
Okay, so don't touch your keyboard or mouse. Let me do it. Okay,
okay, okay, okay.
so this is the jar file that you have to use. Double click on it. It is supposed to open.
Yeah, yeah. I think I made a mistake on that. I said open in a, it says like this. Open with something. I, I do, yeah. Open with.
Where is open with here?
Third option.
Yeah,
Yeah.
open with. Choose the default option. Okay, then go to browser. Maybe go to C. Okay, go to program files. Okay, so we are. So go to, okay, hang on. Go to program files and hang on, don't touch it. Let me do it. Okay.
Okay. I didn't touch.
Okay, okay. So maybe it's taking a little bit of time after I've done something. It is taking a little bit of time. Okay. Let's search for Java. Java should be there now here somewhere.
Yeah, there is.
Java? IJ. There is no Java. How come? Did you install Java?
Uh,
Let me see. 1 second.
yeah, I did.
Okay. Let me search for Java. Okay. Looks like Java is not
Oh,
installed. So let me go double check somewhere else as well.
I did. And
There is no Java, right? Java is there, it will show up here. Okay, it is not
uh,
there. So where did you download Java?
two times I download. I uninstall again. That's what I
Maybe
was
you can check in
doing.
downloads, Kumar.
That's what I'm trying
Yeah.
to do.
Can you go to the?
Maybe it should be there in the downloads.
Maybe I didn't finish the process. I did. Okay, here you go, Jari.
The system is really slow, man. Okay, can you right click on that icon and then say run as administrator?
You want me to say yes?
Oh, there is something called yes. I
Sir,
couldn't see it. Yeah, go ahead and say yes. Maybe that only you can do
you
it.
didn't.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead and
Okay.
yeah, go ahead and say yes. I was not able to
I
see
did.
any of.
Oh, I thought you are seeing. Okay.
Okay. So did you say yes?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's clear. Can you see now?
Something should start installing.
Maybe.
Okay, I'm not
Yeah, it's.
seeing anything. Let's see. Does it taking time to install or what?
I have no idea.
Okay. Okay. Now it is installing. Hang on.
Okay.
Click on that coffee mug at the bottom. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead and click on
Install.
install. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not.
it's installing. Yeah, I didn't finish. Yeah, 3 times I just tried.
Okay. 3 times it didn't install.
I install and I uninstall again. I was trying my best by myself.
Anil, are you there? Buddy Anil, are you there?
Yeah, it's
Yes, Kumar.
installing.
Yes, I'm
Okay.
still here.
Anil, so can you stay back? You said we need to discuss something
Sure,
about the
sure,
video.
sure,
Right?
no problem. Yeah,
We will take it offline or we'll do it.
yeah, offline is good. Yeah,
Yeah. So
okay,
once this is done, I'll call you so that we can
sure.
take it off.
Okay, Kumar,
Yeah. Thanks, Anil.
no problem. Bye.
So what does it say after the whole installation? Does it say it's installed or what does it say? So Athena, I'll be doing my work. Okay. So just let me know. Okay, once the installation is done. Okay.
It's almost done.
Sorry,
Install.
come again. Oh, it got installed. Oh, no, it takes some time. Okay. Don't touch any of it. Okay. Let the message come saying that, it will ask you to do certain other steps. Okay. Don't touch any of it. Okay. Once this bar is closed and the next
Okay.
instruction come, just,
Oh,
let me know. Okay. In the meanwhile, I'll be doing some other stuff here.
okay. Yeah. It- It's done. It says you have successfully installed Java.
Okay. Let me see. Hang on. Don't touch any of it. Oh, you have successfully installed Java. Close it and now
Yeah.
go to the control panel. Okay. At the bottom. I wanted to confirm that on the
Oh,
control. Okay. So,
here we go.
okay, go to Java. Okay, just say Java version there. Type it, or just to say arrow mark, upper arrow mark, you can, don't type any of it. Hang on. Okay, let me take the controls. Okay, just use the arrow mark. Okay, upper arrow mark automatically. Now it is showing what? 1.8.0. Now the Java. Okay, so let me try to access now your Jmeter.
Okay.
Okay,
It
just
says
double
only
click.
It doesn't say executing.
Okay, so now there is an issue here. Okay, we'll solve that one as well. Don't
It
worry.
says only jar file.
Okay, hang on. Okay, open with.
Yeah.
Okay, you see Java TM platform SC binary. Select that one. Oh, okay. So what has happened, man? Okay, man, what is happening here? Okay, so typically it is supposed to, you have messed around a little bit. Let me see what we can do. Okay, choose the default program. Oh man, what was happening here? Okay, Java, Oracle, okay, or maybe I'll say browse.
It doesn't say executing.
No, I think you try to open with something else and that's what messed up. Let me see, hang on, let me see what is that is happening on my system. Okay, just give me 1 minute.
Okay.
Apache Jmeter. It should say Apache Jmeter executable jar file. That's what it should say. Okay.
Yeah, it
So
doesn't say executive jar file.
this is what 5.2.1, right? Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's the file that we need to open. Just give me 1 moment. So here, right click. I'm opening with Java TM platform SC binary only, but why is that you are not able to open it? Okay, Java TM platform SC binary. Is that what it says when you right click on your system?
What say?
Right click, open with, okay, Java TM platform SC binary. That's what it says for me. Okay, maybe we need to put the environment variables on your system. Could be the
Yeah.
issue. Okay, so let's
I
go ahead
tried
and
that.
do that. Okay, let's go ahead
Okay.
and do that. Okay, so only now Java is installed, so we know now Java is installed. Okay, so what we do is go to the desktop. My computer.
C.
Program files. Hang on 1 second. Let me take my pad and then go to Java and hang on 1 second, guys. Yeah, go to bin folder. I think you have messed up a little bit, man. So not issue, we'll fix it. Maybe we have to download the Jmeter again altogether, which we will do it. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. And set up the environment variables. Properties. Advanced system settings. Environment variables. Can you click on that environment variables? It is not allowing me to click.
Okay. Here you go.
And then double click on the path. I think you have already set it up. Okay. Double click on the path or say edit.
Yeah,
Okay,
I did this.
Okay. Let me edit. Hang on one second.
Okay.
Go ahead, click on edit.
Edit. Okay.
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 Put the cursor at the first. Okay. Delete it. Whatever is there, delete it.
There is no in variable name. I just say path path.
Hang on. Let me
In
do it.
Okay.
Value, I'm asking you to delete it, buddy. It's not allowing me to do anything on that. Click on the value, take away the value, put the new value, Control V.
The new value. Okay.
Take away the existing value.
I just clear the existing value.
Yeah, paste it, Control V.
Control.
V.
Control. Yes.
And then it should be capital PATH. Did you type that or it was already there?
I type it.
Then we have
Let
to
me say
check.
okay.
It is small capital P, small ATH. Can you try that?
Okay. Like this.
Click on OK. I think capital PATH should be there, but anyways, yeah. Okay. Click on OK. I think it should be capitals. Yeah, it should be capital PATH. Not sure why I have done it with a small PATH. Okay. But if you look at it honestly, okay, let it be there. Let it be there. Let's try to open it once more. Okay. Let it be there. If not, we will go ahead and change it. Click on OK.
Okay.
And then click on OK again. Okay, I think you need to restart the system once after the Java is installed. But anyways, can you open it again, the Jmeter? Let's try opening the Jmeter.
Okay.